All right. Well, thank you so much to everybody that has taken time today to join us. Like I said, to our international members who have stayed up really late or gotten up really, really early. We are thrilled to be able to offer our Golden Key Talks to our members about subjects that we feel like support our mission of helping you to achieve your potential, regardless of any stage or phase in your life. We are just absolutely thrilled to bring amazing speakers really each week to you and to help continue your lifelong learning. So with that today, I want to turn it over to the one that you have come to see today. So I am so thrilled to introduce Lonnie Mitchell. Lonnie has been actually a speaker at several of our Golden Key Summits in, I believe it was 2019 in Chicago and in Houston. And so glad that we finally can bring her from a Golden Key physical event where we are all physically in the same room. I said, now we can be in a virtual environment and allow hundreds and even thousands of Golden Key members to hear her message. So let me tell you a little bit about Lonnie. Lonnie is a weightless life coach. She primarily concentrates on helping women feel confident, healthy, and powerful in their reflection. Her mission is to help others truly love what they see in the mirror. Though the health industry is filled with a lot of weight loss messaging, people still struggle with losing weight or simply staying consistent with being healthy. The real key to happiness and health is ditching emotional weight, hence the title, Weightless Life Coach. Love yourself and the rest will follow. Lonnie is also an advocate of self-development through travel and hosts wellness retreats as well. So Lonnie just has an incredible wealth of knowledge, and we certainly knew, if you are watching this recording later, we are at the height of the COVID-19 shelter in place, and we knew that the power of positive speaking was something that our members would really speak to our members. So with that, Lonnie, I know you've got a lot of great things to share with us today, so I'm going to turn it over to you. If you do have questions for Lonnie, please do drop them in the chat. We will have a Q&A at the end of her presentation, so you're welcome to drop them there, and we'll help you facilitate that towards the end. So Lonnie, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. So how is everyone doing? I'm so excited. Please let me know if you can see my screen. I'm pretty sure it's up and going. We're
Yes.
all set there.
Yep, you're good.
Perfect. Thank you. So yeah, like Melissa said, I am a weightless coach, and I actually go way back with Golden Key. I've been with them since I think like 2011, and I was actually president of one of the chapters. So I'm a huge fan of Golden Key, and I'm really honored to be able to speak with you guys today about creating a positive mindset. So let's just jump right into it. And by the way, if you do not already, please grab a pen and paper, because I am going to have you guys write down some things for yourself so that you can truly take it away and do these exercises on your own to really take the most out of this presentation as possible. So it's not just something that, you watch once and it's like, okay, great, there's so much great information online, right? But we hear it once and then we kind of forget about it. So if you actually put these things into practice, it will transform your life. So go grab a pen and paper and just get into the objectives here. So obviously we're going to learn how to feel and think more positive, because if you came here for that and I didn't talk about it, that'd be kind of weird. So we're also going to talk about how to improve your confidence with positive thinking. And then I'm going to give you some shortcuts for stress relief, because we all get those moments where we're just about to lose it, right? Whether it's with the kids or at work or with school, and we just need some quick tips. So I'm going to go into that as well. But first, I want to ask you a question, and that is, are you willing to be uncomfortable? Because growth requires vulnerability. And to truly grow, you need to be willing to get uncomfortable, right? That's not anything new. Growth truly does happen when you are uncomfortable. So if you are willing to truly have these tools impact your life and get to that next level, I want you to type yes in the chat box. And for any questions that you have, put them on your pen and paper, like have a separate section for all your questions. And then if you could ask them at the end, that would be amazing, just so I don't miss any in the chat as we're going through, because I'll be presenting as well. And Melissa and Chris, they'll be answering questions too, but I just want to make sure that I get back to all of you guys. So go ahead and type yes in the chat box if you are willing. I'm going to check them right now. Yes, love it. So many. Awesome. So the next thing I'm going to have you do to actually get uncomfortable before we fully step in here is I want you to write down 2 things you love about yourself. And if you are brave enough, I want you to put one of them in this chat box. So let's see who's going to be brave and put something in there. Hardworking, I love that. Caring for others, charisma, determination, listening skills, that is extremely important. Loyal to a fault, I hear that one. Love it. I'm so proud of you guys. Awesome. Okay, so let's get into this then. So just a little bit about me. Like Melissa said, I help women to ditch that inner weight, to feel confident in their reflection. The weight loss industry is a $66.3 billion industry. So it's massive, yet we still have so many people who are struggling with their confidence and struggling to, have that consistency with their health. And so many people, they want to lose weight to feel confident, right? They think that's what's, gonna solve all their problems. They're going to lose the weight, they're going to feel confident, and then everything else is going to fall into place. But the industry is so big because there's still such a market for it, because people aren't getting the results that they want. And the reason for that is because they're still looking outside for an inside job. Now, I could get into technical aspects of this and cortisol and stress and everything like that, but that's not what we're here for. But that's just a bit about what I do. My background is actually in marketing and economics, and I got my master's in applied economics about 2 years ago. But then I decided to quit corporate shortly after, and that seems crazy, right? But here's the thing, and here everyone says you need to have a why, right? So my why was because my father passed 6 years ago, and I was trying to do everything I could to make him proud. He always told me he was proud of me growing up, right? But I was trying to do everything I could and trying to be the best person I could. And then it just came to me as I was sitting in my cubicle, and I started having tears down my face, and I thought, he will be happy for me and proud of me when I'm happy with myself. And I always knew from a very young age I was meant to help people, and I was meant to help animals, and I was meant to make some kind of an impact in the world and to truly live. And to me, being stuck in the 9 to 5 and working for the bottom line and saving X amount of dollars for the company, I wasn't truly living to my full potential that I knew I had. So I also, this is going to be funny for you guys, I'm here to teach you about positive mindset, right? I was the most negative, cynical person you could meet. All right. I hated myself. I hated my body. I would be constantly projecting my pain onto other people. I'd get defensive. And I did not like who I was, because I knew that wasn't me either. But between being extremely bullied and taking abuse from teachers and students in high school, to then losing my father, going through a tumultuous long-term relationship, I just turned into someone that I didn't even recognize. And so I went through this huge healing journey. And when I realized, because much like everyone else, I gained weight from the emotional eating and everything, and I tried to lose weight for like 10 years, and I tried to be positive, but nothing was working. I watched all the positive videos, but nothing was working. And then when I went on my healing journey, I discovered the certain key to what everything was missing. And that key I'm going to share with you guys today, but we're going to go through the typical positive mindset stuff first, and I'm going to help you learn how to apply it even better. So let's get into it. So how do we create joy in life, right? There's 2 ways that we truly have joy in life. That is love, right? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We want to feel connected. We want to feel wanted. We want to be part of something. That's why we crave relationships and love from our parents and love from our children and everything like that, right? So love, that's why we also feel so good when we give. And then we also get it from growth, from progress. And so that is what this is going to help you with. Creating a positive mindset is going to help you grow. So what is a positive lifestyle though? I don't want you to think it's about, farting out all sparkles and stuff like that and smiling all the time, because it's not. Creating a positive lifestyle is allowing yourself to have all the emotions, to honor them, to actually go through them. But instead of staying stuck, you're able to pull yourself back out and continue even stronger, and to see the positives even in a dark area. But that doesn't mean that you don't have the dark times as well. So I just want to make that clear. Just because you have a down day or you feel sad or you hate yourself one day, it does not mean you are not a positive person, right? It's like healthy eating, 80-20 rule. You can't be healthy 100% of the time. I mean, you technically could, but what kind of life is that, right? It's important to follow your emotions, allow yourself to be human. So how do we create this lifestyle? There's two things. One, you need to decide and commit. What hurts more? Not living to your full potential, or having that little bit of growing pain, getting uncomfortable to step out of that comfort zone to grow into that person you know you're meant to be? So you have to decide, you know what, I'm going to be a positive person. I am going to have a positive mindset, and I'm going to do whatever I can to get there, right? And then the other thing is raising your standards. So I love bagels, not gonna lie. Let's say I go to a 5-star restaurant and I say, give me the best breakfast you have. And they bring me out a bagel that they bought from the refrigerator section of a store. That's not what you would expect from a 5-star restaurant, right? That's not the standard to uphold. So if you truly want to have an incredible life, you need to raise the standards for yourself and for your life. Don't accept subpar. Don't settle, because this life is too dang short to settle. And that's the thing. It's not about, being afraid to die. It's about being afraid of getting to that point and then realizing you haven't truly lived. So that's why you need to be committed to doing everything you can to really get to that place you want to be. So let's go into how to develop a positive mindset. I did a quick Google search and this is what came up. So you have the journaling, you have the meditation, you have like manifestation and gratitude. These are all typically things that you hear, right? Yet so many people still struggle with the positive mindset. Just like in the weight loss industry, you have all the tips and tricks and the nutrition plans and workout plans, but still so many people struggle. Well, that's because one, they don't tell you the key to it all. And two, sometimes, mainly in this stuff, they don't get specific enough and tell you truly how to do it. Because believe it or not, there's actually a wrong way and right way to do gratitude. I know that sounds crazy. We'll get into it, but it's true. So I'm going to show you some tips on how to make these even more beneficial to you, how to truly make them work, and give you other tips as well. So the first is priming your mind. What is the first thing that you do when you wake up? I guarantee you it's checking your phone. Comment yes if it's checking your phone. And I'm going to check this, because if no one responds yes, I know you all are lying. Well, yep. Yep. Oh, yeah. See, and I do it too sometimes. And you know what else we do in the mornings typically? We start thinking, oh my God, I have to let the dog out. And then I have to do this for work. Maybe I have to make the kids breakfast, and then I have to make lunch, and then I have to do laundry. I have to clean the house. I have to vacuum. I, have to fix that sink or whatever. And we start thinking of all the things that we have to do. And we put this stress on ourselves right away. And so already we're setting ourselves up for a difficult day, right? Instead of us getting ahead of the day. So what I have all my clients do is do an intentional 15-minute morning. And if you tell me you don't have 15 minutes for yourself, I'm going to challenge you on that, because it's about a priority. You are a priority. And 15 minutes is only 1% of your day. So whether you need to wake up just a little bit earlier, or you maybe need to be more conscious of not scrolling on your phone right away, take 15 minutes and do something that feeds your soul and your mind. Now, what I do is I have my clients do 10 minutes of meditation and 5 minutes of journaling. And I know you're saying, oh, the meditation, there she goes. She's talking about, the typical stuff. Yes, because you know what? Meditation is scientifically proven to help stress, reduce anxiety, and to help you become back in the present. And so honestly, it has so many other benefits as well, but we won't get into it because you can easily Google that and find all the studies. But the reason why I really have my ladies do meditation is because it helps you to connect back to yourself. So say, when you were a child, you'd wake up and you would think about what you're excited for the day, right? And you didn't have all these things, all these expectations being thrown at you. And so going into meditation just helps you to reconnect back to yourself, to where there are no expectations. You just are. You're in that moment. And then for the journaling, what I have them do is I have them write an affirmation and what their intention is for the day. And so this goes into the priming your mind to affect your decisions. So if you go into the day thinking, oh my God, I have this, that, and the other to do, you're just already going into it. You don't really have an intention, right? It's kind of like if you go into a house and you're saying, I'm just going to wander around and see what this is about, versus I might want to buy this house or I might not. You're going to look at it differently, right? Whether you're browsing or going for an intent to buy. So really having intention for your day, how you want to start it, how you want to go about it is so important. And then I have them do an affirmation to get that confidence going. And the number one issue people have with this is, I feel like I'm lying to myself. And it's true. You kind of are lying to yourself. But you're also lying to yourself by telling you those negative things. If you wake up in the morning and you're thinking like, man, I am just not a good person, or I feel like I'm worthless right now, you are still lying to yourself, because guess what? You put that belief in place and then you kept subconsciously looking for situations to prove that. So instead of putting those negative beliefs in place, put a positive one in place and look for things that will prove that instead. And we'll get into this a little bit more later, but this is why I have them do an affirmation. And usually by the second week, it really starts sinking in. They're like, you know what, I'm starting to believe this. So that is the 15-minute intentional morning that I have my ladies do. So you can do whatever you want though, whether it is, just intentionally sipping your coffee, or having a little dance party, or maybe reading, doing a devotional, whatever, just something that makes you feel good, and then putting in what is your intention for the day. And how you start your day is going to affect how you have the rest of the day. So let's have two scenarios. One, you're running out the door, you shove a bagel in your mouth, you're trying to just, see, there I go again with the bagels. I have a problem, guys. But you're just running out the door, rushing to get to work. I have this, that, and the other to do. Versus you wake up a little bit earlier, you have a really nice breakfast, maybe some oatmeal, or maybe you have some eggs, some veggies. You have your intentional morning where you say, this is what I want to get done today. And then you go about your day. Who do you think is going to feel better throughout the day? Who do you think is going to make better decisions towards their health and their mindset throughout the day? It's clear, right? So that is the first thing, priming your mind. And one tip I want to give you guys for takeaway right now is being aware of your vocabulary. So say your intention, I'm just going to use health as an example because this is what a lot of my ladies struggle with. Say you want to eat healthy. So you say, I am going to try to eat healthy today. Instead of saying try, say I will. Or instead of saying, I really can't do this project, I'm not smart enough, take out the word can't, or take out the word not. So really focus on what words are you having hold you back, and try taking those out just for 2 days and see how you feel. I've been using this one more and more with my clients lately, and they are having massive growth with it. So I want you to really write this tip down and then just experiment with it for 2 days. By the way, this is water, it's Celsius. putting that out there. It's not that kind of a talk. So the second thing is living mindfully. Becoming more aware of your thoughts, your actions, your reactions. Because we can either react or we can respond, right? And the more that we are aware of our thoughts and how we are feeling, the more we can respond rather than react. So this is where meditation comes in so handy, because you're becoming more aware of yourself. You're becoming more aware of your thoughts so you can catch them quicker, right? And say, is that really what's happening? Is that really how I want to respond? Maybe not. So becoming more aware of that. But it's not even just about meditation or becoming aware of what you're thinking. Living mindfully can be as simple as you're making your bed in the morning, slowing it down, paying attention to how do the sheets feel. Or as you're folding laundry, how exactly are you moving your arms to fold your laundry? How does the laundry feel? How does it smell? So this goes into really being in the present moment and knowing where you are. And what I mean by that is, where are you in your mind? Because there's 3 places you can be: past, present, and the future. And so often we're stuck between these 2 because we're worried about what's happened, we're feeling guilty about something, we're saying, oh my God, I can't believe they did that, or we're worrying about how we're going to make XYZ happen, or we're feeling crappy about ourselves and thinking, what's my life going to look like in 5 years? So really, when you are going into those 2 different states, you're taking away from where you are now, and where you are now is the only thing you are guaranteed. You're not guaranteed tomorrow, and the past has already happened. So essentially, you're just putting that stress on yourself for, I won't say no reason, because of course we have guilt and those natural human emotions, but it does not actually serve a productive purpose. So the more you can stay present, the more peace you will have. I know that sounds kind of like Buddhist and woo-woo, but trust me, it's true. Just try it. So we're actually going to try right now. What we are going to do is called the 5 senses technique. And so what I want you to do is just close your eyes. We're just going to do this for a minute. Close your eyes and take in a couple deep breaths. And then I want you to focus on what you are hearing, whether it's my voice, whether there's construction, maybe you're in the city and there's city sounds, or there's howling from dogs in the back if you're in the country. Just focus on what you hear. And then I want you to focus on what you taste. Maybe you just ate dinner or had some coffee. How is that tasting in your mouth? Is it sweet, salty? And then I want you to focus on, what are you feeling? Whether you're holding your hands, if they're kind of clammy, maybe you need some lotion, maybe they're a bit dry from all the hand washing. And then what do you smell? Let's take a couple breaths here. And then I want you to think about a specific place in the room that you're at, and open your eyes and focus on that just for a second. And now I want you to comment yes if you feel any ways calmer than you did just a minute ago. I'm going to check the chat real quick here. Yeah, see, I love it. So this is such a useful technique. So it just really brings you back to the present. So if you find that you're going into the past, into the future, you're creating these stories in your head of, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this person texts me back? What if they don't text me back? I need to get this assignment done. If you find yourself going into these different states, this helps bring you back into the present. And it also works for panic attacks, at least from personal experience. I know for other people it's worked as well. I actually had a client who was being yelled at in her face, not for her fault by any means, but she was in a conference room last year. She's being yelled at in her face. She did this technique, and her boss called her, and he's like, I'm surprised you didn't go up one side of him and down the other. And she's like, nope, I'm good. And she used this technique, and it's that powerful. So I feel like things have slowed down. Awesome. Rio says, I don't feel anything. Okay, so for some people, it may not work, or maybe, you need to do it just a little bit longer. So maybe experiment with it. But you know what? Different things work for different people. So the other thing is, where do you choose to place your focus on? So let's say you are at your job and you're having a review, right? Or, you just have this big project and they say, you know what? I really like that you're always on time here. You're a very dedicated person. You are, very much an asset to this company. We love having you around. You always bring a smile to our face, and your work is always really good. This project is really awesome. I would have changed this one part. And then what do you do for the rest of the day? You focus on that one part typically, right? So where exactly are you placing your focus? Are you focusing it on the negative instead of the positive? If you are going throughout your day and you're getting stuck on something, so say, I'll just use an example of mine from before, like say you're in Excel. I spent a lot of time in Excel and you're really struggling to make this one equation work. And I know you guys are students, so you probably have this issue too. You say like, man, I just suck at Excel. I'm never going to get this. Or you say, okay, I don't get this right now. Let me take a step back. I know I will get this. I just need to maybe look at it from a different perspective or give it some more time, right? So you need to choose where you are placing your focus. Are you focusing on that one friend who, just keeps putting you down rather than the 5 friends who are always building you up and have your back and are loyal? Really focus on where you are putting your energy. And then what are you asking yourself? Ask yourself better questions. If you're constantly asking yourself, why do I suck? Why am I not reaching my goal yet? Why is this happening to me? You're not going to go into a positive place from asking that. So start asking yourself better questions. How can this serve me? What can I learn from this? How is this possibly going to benefit me? Maybe this is, saving me from making the wrong decision. And so with that, we are going to go into gratitude. So you'll see the transition in a second. But again, you're probably thinking like, okay, she talked about meditation, now she's talking about gratitude. Gratitude is scientifically proven to help as well. Again, I'm not going to bore you with the studies and all the stats and everything because you can easily Google that. But health, stress, sleep, depression, confidence, gratitude helps all of that. But there is a wrong and a right way to gratitude. The wrong way is going at night before bed and opening your journal and saying, okay, Lonnie told me practice gratitude. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful that, I have a roof over my head. Okay, great. Let me go watch some Netflix. That's the wrong way to do it. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, gratitude is more of a state. The more in the state of gratitude you can be, the better, because you can't be angry and be grateful at the same time. You cannot be in those same states at the same time. I dare you to try it. You just can't. But imagine that you are going on a walk. And again, this goes to that mindfulness. So imagine you're on a walk and you're paying attention to how your feet move, and then you see this beautiful tree and you notice that it's starting to bloom. And there's these beautiful colors. Say, there's this beautiful lilac color, and lilac happens to be your favorite color. So you start looking at that and just admiring its beauty. That is an act of gratitude. That is being in the state of gratitude. Just finding those little things here and there. Even like if you pass by, a coffee shop and smelling the coffee and saying, that's so good. Being grateful that you're able to smell that. It's just those little simple things that put you into that state of gratitude. So here's the one thing that really helps make gratitude more impactful. What do you think is more impactful with these 2 statements? First one is, I'm grateful for my mom, versus I am grateful that whenever I feel I'm struggling or I'm in a low mood, I can go to her and she knows the exact right things to say and do to pick me back up. Which do you think is going to make you feel better? Second one, right? So getting more specific with gratitude is going to help it be more impactful. So I want you to really write that down. Get specific. And then practice makes what? Perfect, right? So gratitude is not something that is instantly going to give you amazing benefits. So it has been proven that if you practice gratitude at night, it helps you with your sleep. That doesn't necessarily mean that, the first night you're going to have an amazing sleep. There was a study by Berkeley, this is the study I will cite. There was a study by Berkeley that after 4 weeks, there was a statistically significant improvement in mental health. And after 12 weeks, that gap was even bigger. So gratitude does take time to witness the benefits, but the benefits are absolutely insane. And if you go online and look at, any of these expert panelists on like impact theory, that's one of my favorite YouTube channels. They will say, practice gratitude and do your meditation. Because having that gratitude and having that mindfulness to bring you into the present moment, it does help you so much with reducing that stress and getting back to who you truly are. Because the money, the houses, the jobs, all this stuff, that's not truly what life is about. Life is about truly living, having connections. Yes, you need to have the job, you need to pay the bills and stuff. But it's more so about being true to your soul and being a good person, right? So right now, I want you guys to write one thing that you are truly grateful for, and remember to make it specific. So write that in the chat box right now, and we'll check up on it. I'm trying to see the chat box, and it's making me miss it.
Can you see it? Family, my life, my friends.
Yeah.
Having a good laugh with my mom after an argument, being able to breathe in and breathe out by being alive.
So I'm seeing a lot about people, so try to make it even more specific, like my daughter. What about your daughter? Oh, my daughter and our close relationship. I love that. Living on an island. Ooh, that sounds nice right now. I could do some sun and sand. My employment allows me to work from home. That's awesome. Moving my body. I love that. I love that you are grateful for moving your body, because that is actually so important to health. And that's one of the things I teach people. Instead of focusing on weight loss, focusing on that movement of body. I love it. Awesome, guys. I'm proud of you. Okay, so let's continue on. So the next one, and this was huge for me, okay? I remember when this clicked, surrendering. So I'm not going to get all preachy here, but have you ever heard that saying of like, tell God your plan and he'll laugh? So you have your schedule of what you want, right? And then the universe, God, whoever, whatever you believe in, that has its own schedule. So this really ties into that being in control while releasing control. So let's say, you have the goal of being a marketing director. And let's say you need to have a master's degree for that. So let's say you go to university and then you go for the master's and then you try to apply for these jobs. But then those jobs are not happening. You had this one that you really, really, really wanted. And it was like the dream job, all the benefits you wanted. It was with an awesome company that had great company culture. And you loved the products that they had. But for some reason, it just didn't pan out. So there's two things that the universe typically says. Either not now, it's just for some reason not the right time, or I have even something better for you. So it is important to do what you can to get to your goals, but then you have to just release that control, right? So we all have this blueprint of what we want our life to be. But at some point, we have to realize that the blueprint can change, or our mindset has to change. So I am going to give you a quick little story. So in relation to this, I completely bombed my GMAT going into my master's program. It was 6 months after my father passed. He had told me he wanted me to get a master's degree, so I was trying to make him proud, get that degree, and I just bombed it. I was never that good at, standardized tests anyway, but I was a really good student, right? I got the dean's list, pretty much all the time on, like, in my university. I was in business scholars honors school, or honors college. So I wrote a letter to the school because it was the same school that my father went to for my master's. I went to undergrad and master's in 2 different places. So I wrote them a letter and I said, please, 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 I know I did not do well on this. Please let me in. It's the school my father wanted or went to. I really want to go there, kind of follow in his footsteps. And so I did what I could. I put in the controlling aspect that I could, and then the rest was just out of my hands. And I just had to wait. But if I kept stressing about it, I would just be putting stress on my body. And if you've ever noticed disease, it's dis-ease. So the more stress you put on yourself, the more your body starts to wear down. That's why laughter is the best medicine, because it puts you in a good mood. It helps your cells regenerate. So the less stress you can have on yourself, the better. And so the more you worry, the more stress you have. So releasing control and knowing that whatever is going to happen, and trusting that is for your greater good is the best thing you can do for yourself. And another huge thing about this is your relationships with other people. I have so many people tell me, like, I just want to stop caring what other people think. I always try to fix relationships, and I, go to, say, a sister or a brother, and, I'm trying to say, like, why aren't you talking to me? What did I say? What did I do wrong? All you can do is go and talk to them in the best way that you can from a loving standpoint. Say, look, I really want this relationship with you. You're my brother. You're my sister. I love you. Please help me understand where the miscommunication happened. And if they don't want to talk, you can't control that. And you just have to let it be. And so this also goes down to managing stress. Are you managing it or are you dealing with it? A lot of positive mindset talks, they talk just about manage your stress, do the meditation, take a bath, go for a walk. That's managing it, but you're not dealing with the stuff that's actually stressing you out. So even though it's uncomfortable, maybe you need to have those conversations with your family or with your friends, or maybe that assignment that you're putting off, you just need to get it done. So make sure that you're actually dealing with your stress as well, so then you can surrender just to the rest of what is happening. And just like with this whole COVID thing, so many people, we want that control. We want to know, okay, I can get back to normal life. And, I was actually talking with Melissa about this. This one woman I saw on the news, she was saying, I really want to get back to work. And she was crying out, we need to get back to work so we can pay our bills. And then she put her head down to show her roots growing out. She goes, we need to get back to the salon. And I lost it. I'm like, how can you be talking about going back to the salon and getting your roots done? And I thought, why is this so important to her that she's putting it in the same sentence as paying her bills? So part of it, I thought, maybe that's the one thing that makes her feel beautiful. Or maybe she's trying to do that to feel like she has some control over the situation. But the more you can just control what you can, like, staying indoors, staying 6 feet away from people, making sure that you're just, doing what you can to stay safe, and then understanding you have no control over the rest of it. That way you'll lessen the stress on yourself. So release that control. So the key to surrendering is the acceptance of change, the acceptance of flow, right? Just like trees, they have their seasons. They bud, they bloom, they're gorgeous, then they turn into these beautiful colored leaves and they fall off, right? And the reason why the leaves fall off is so that it's not too heavy for the snow and then all the branches break off. So you need to release your leaves as well and know that even though you have downtimes, you're also going to have those uptimes. Those uptimes will also happen, and those downtimes will also happen. You're always guaranteed of having the up and down, having the contrast, and having the really good times. So the more that you can accept that change is just part of life, the more easy it will be to surrender. So how many of you have actually tried these things before? You tried the gratitude and you tried the meditation, but you just couldn't keep up with it. You couldn't be consistent with it, or you tried it and it just didn't work for you. Let me know in the chat box. Let's check it out. Yep. Struggling to stay consistent. Yep. Struggle to meditate. Time, headspace. Yeah, so the consistency, yeah, that's the issue. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Much like there is a key to the whole weight loss aspect, there is a key to this as well. So you want to have a positive mindset, right? That is why you are here. However, how are you going to have a positive mindset if you aren't dealing with the root? Why are you struggling with a positive mindset? So how many of you watch Pimple Popper? I'm not going to lie, like I have to look away like 3/4 of the time, but then I'm like, ooh, show me more. Okay, so I actually had knee surgery, what was it, like 4 years ago? And I had multiple cysts in there and a torn meniscus. And so the doctor, he tried to take out the liquid, but he didn't take out the sac. And I learned from Pimple Popper, there's like a sac to things. This sounds disgusting, so I'm sorry if you're queasy about it. But here's the thing. So if you don't take out the sac, the cyst is more likely to come back. And guess what? It did. Whereas if you take out the sac, it can fully heal and there's less chance of it coming back. So if you deal with the root of why you're struggling with a positive mindset, you have much more likelihood of it actually sticking. So how do you actually do that? Self-love. That is the key to everything, essentially. Well, at least to positive mindset and to weight loss. So there's 2 ways of developing self-love: giving it and receiving it. And usually you have people who are kind of in the extreme sense. So you have moms who are constantly giving and giving and giving, and then they, run out of energy and they're so tired and they're like, oh my God, I just can't get a hold of anything, because they're so busy giving that love and not giving it to themselves. And then you have other people who are giving themselves love, but they still feel unfulfilled. And they're still not quite confident. And so there's this happy medium where you give and you take. Because how many of you have actually done something for someone else, whether it's a compliment or you bought someone coffee and it made you feel good? You made them smile and that smile made you feel good. So you're filling your own cup by giving love. But it's important that you need to fill your own cup as well. And this is so true for mothers. I don't know how many mothers are out there, or if maybe you're just a caregiver or something like that, because caregivers really struggle with that as well. I don't mean just, that was the wrong word to use. But here's the thing. So if you have, a pitcher and you're pouring it over, eventually, if you're pouring it over these plants, then that water is going to run out. Whereas if you put the plants under an area where you can have a vase and you're just constantly filling that vase with water, it will just naturally overflow. So the more you fill your cup, the more love you're able to give, and you're able to give it from a place of fulfillment within you. And I have had parents, I actually asked a client, go ask your children how they've seen a difference in you in the last 2 months. And they said, well, you seem more like present, you seem a lot more interested in us, like, and what's happening in our lives. Not that you weren't before, like you're just asking way more questions. And you seem really happy and just lighter. And she took those 15 minutes in the morning. Granted, at first it was hard for her because she felt like she was taking that time away from her children. But by spending just a bit more time on herself, she was able to spend more quality time with her family rather than her mind being somewhere else, right? Because how many times have you been, at the movies, or you're trying to spend time with a friend, but your mind is just somewhere else instead of right there. And then you're like, dang, I didn't really have a good time because I wasn't really there. And so you have to put yourself as a priority. So I put these other things here: boundaries, forgiving, perfectionism, intuition. the self-validation, the self-care. I put these things here to show you self-love is not just bubble baths and meditation. Yes, that's part of self-care, but is not just that. Is also having the strength to have those boundaries in your life, saying no to perfectionism, right? And that's one of the things that I know high achievers struggle with. So how many of you struggle with this? Pop it in the chat below. There are typically two types of perfectionists. Those who get the thing done, but then they keep doing it, and it's just never good enough for them. And those who don't even start the project because it's just not going to be good enough right away. It's not going to be good. So they kind of just procrastinate. So here's the thing. Perfectionism. It's the highest standard you can have for yourself, right? Wrong. It's actually the lowest standard you have for yourself because it doesn't exist. So instead of striving for perfectionism, strive for excellence. Because otherwise, yeah, you're just striving for something that doesn't even exist. So how are you going to get there? And for those of you who feel like, you always have to keep making the things perfect and perfect and perfect, and then you wear yourself out, there was a time study done where they measured income and happiness. And say between 40 and 70,000, if you went from making 40,000, 70,000, there was a huge statistical significant increase in happiness. But once you hit that 75 mark, there wasn't a statistical significant increase. There was a slight increase, but wasn't statistically significant. So much like that, everything in your life, it has that bell curve, right? The point where it starts having marginal returns, decreasing marginal returns. So at some point, you just have to surrender and say, I have done what I can. This is good enough. And you learn that by being good enough for yourself. So let's talk about your self-worth. I'm going to open up the chat while I do this. So typically, I'm going to have full disclosure here. When I do this talk in person, someone does get this. I don't want anyone sending me their address and making this weird or coming off weird. So no one is going to get this today, but we're going to do it for the purpose of, the lesson of it. So who wants this $20? Who would want this if they were in the room? Yep, me, yep. Exactly, yeah. See, all of you would want this, okay? So kind of want it. Really just kind of. What's the catch? I love that. Here's the catch. Well, crumpled. Now who wants it? Do you still want it? Won't do good in Australia. You can exchange it. Let's say this is, in whatever currency of where you are. Would you still want this? Still worth the same. Exactly. Still worth the same. So here's now what we're going to do. You still want it? Give me capital yes if you would still want this. Let's go all caps. Yes, can tape. Exactly. So why would you still want it? Someone said this before. You wasted it. No, I didn't. I worked at a bank. This does not actually waste it. So it's okay. Trust me, I have accepted stuff that was in much worse condition. But yes, still valuable, still the same. So my point to you is, when you feel broken, your worth is still the same. It is not your confidence that stays the same. Your confidence is always going up and down like this, right? Kind of like the trees. But your worth is still always the same. So that broken but not shattered. I love that. So that is what I want to tell you about your worth. Now, of course, we can't go too far into this because we are limited on time, but there are just some things in here that I wanted to touch base with you on. So how do you get self-love? Right? That is my AAA method. No, I'm not going to save you money on your car insurance or tow you out of a ditch. If I was there, I would definitely try to help you. But this is about Actually, let me close this so you guys can see clearly. What this is about: acceptance, approval, admiration. The admiration is really just self-love, but if I put AAS, it'd be ass. So I thought AAA was better. So there is a timeline that you need to follow to get to self-love. You first need to accept yourself as you are, because the more that you try to improve yourself, like with positive mindset, thinking, I'm just not good enough, I need to be better, I need to be more positive, I need to be more likable, I need to, get a better job, I need to lose weight. The more you try to improve yourself from that point of not accepting yourself, the harder it is going to be. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be really hard. So accept yourself first, and then you can work into that approval. And then once you get into that approval where you're no longer searching from it for anyone else, then you go into that true self-love. And that approval also goes into healing those past wounds, really ditching that emotional weight. Okay? So I'm going to give you just like a little taste of how to go through this. So the first thing, what is the difference between these two? The difference between these two pictures is one is deconstructive and one is constructive. So if you are telling yourself, I suck, I'm no good, this is just never going to happen, what are those thoughts doing for you? Absolutely nothing. They're just keeping you in a low vibrational state. They're not serving you any purpose. They're not lighting your butt on fire. Whereas if you tell yourself, you know what, I'm really not getting this right now, let me just step away. I know I can do this. I've gone through harder things. I've gone through more difficult things. I can do this. I'm struggling right now, but I will get through this. That is more constructive. That is what's going to help propel you further. So it's about speaking better to yourself and removing that deconstructive criticism that serves absolutely no value. But how do you do that, right? Everyone knows this. Everyone knows, yeah, talk nicer to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Everyone says that to you, right? But how do you actually do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. So your thoughts are powerful, but flexible. How many of you have heard a Taylor Swift song on the radio, or just any song that has been overplayed 50 million times, and you just think, nope, don't want to listen to it anymore, and you change the station on the radio? So your thoughts are the same. And again, this is why meditation is so powerful, because it gets you more aware of your thoughts so you can catch them sooner. Say, you know what, I really don't want to have that thought. So say you want to be less judgmental. And, this is one thing that I struggled with years ago, because I was so hurt. And so, I'd be very judgmental of other people. And so say you're walking down the street and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what she's wearing. She looks absolutely crazy. What the heck? And, or, someone is just like dancing freely and having a great time. You're like, what are they doing? And instead of thinking like, man, they're really enjoying life, good for them, you're being judgmental, right? So you can train your mind to say, I'm kind of being judgy right now. Let me switch that thought. How else can I look at this situation? So change the channel. Write this down. Your mindset, your thoughts are like a radio. So when it comes to removing deconstructive criticism about yourself, say you think, I'm not enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I don't feel like I can ever do anything right. Learn, where did these thoughts come from? And this is going to be your writing exercise. So write this down. You don't need to put it in the chat box, but just write this down and do it on your own. I want you to write down the top 3 criticisms you have of yourself. And then I want you to write the main 3 things that you remember from your childhood being told, whether it's from other peers, their adults, your parents. And I want you to see if there is a correlation. And so the first thing to identifying these limiting beliefs is seeing truly where are they coming from, asking yourself, why am I thinking this way? And learning to identify them. Again, it just comes down to being more aware of your thoughts and what's happening. And so if you find yourself, thinking, man, I am just really no good, catch yourself. Why am I thinking this? Where did this all come from? When did I start thinking this? What's the earliest recollection I have of this? Okay, it was 5 years ago. Well, why was I thinking that way then? Like, what made me think this? What was going on in my life? So keep asking why. And then to move on from it, one, you need to heal from it, but also just having self-talks, having those affirmations, learning to change that thought, having that radio example. So one method I do for this is my note, new method. So note it down, the thought that comes up, I'm not good enough. Okay, noted. I know that I'm thinking this. Then you say, nope, I'm not accepting that. That is not how we're allowing ourselves to talk to each other anymore. So you say, nope, I'm not going to accept that, and replace it with a new thought. I am learning. I am worthy as I am. I am good enough as I am. I don't have anything to prove. And this also requires that self-compassion. Because don't expect this to be an overnight thing, and don't expect to be able to just learn this once and then you're good for the rest of your life. Because guess what? Things keep popping up in life, right? And so you meet new challenges, and so you have to just strengthen these tools, right? Just like you may be the best at doing a slam dunk in basketball, but then you go to try to throw a three-pointer and you stink. So you need to strengthen your basketball skills, right? Sometimes I use sports analogies. I don't know why, because I actually am not quite good at sports. I did play basketball though. But anyway, so, and then this, again, is reprogramming your mind and rewriting the story. So when you have that note aspect where that thought comes up of I'm not good enough, what you can do is just shout it out and say, nope, that's BS. And call them BS on that. And say a whole word if you want. But make sure you are being disciplined with yourself. Say, no, I'm not tolerating this anymore. I'm raising my standards of how I talk to myself. So, are affirmations a lie? No, because these negative thoughts are a lie too. It's just choosing what you believe. Are you going to choose to believe that you're not good enough? Or are you going to choose to believe you are good enough and start looking for the ways, the situations, the experiences that prove that you are? Okay. So the next thing is doing things to help you grow. So step out of your comfort zone. For me, I was petrified to start traveling alone. Well, I won't say petrified because I did it a little bit going back home to Ireland. But like going to Thailand, that was intimidating. And with a group of people I didn't even know. But guess what? I grew so much there and learned so much about myself. The more you step out of your comfort zone, the more you learn about yourself. So someone might say, hey, you know what? You should totally do the zip line with me. And you're like, no, I'm afraid of heights. Heck no. But then you decide, all right, I'm just going to do it, and I'm just going to count to 5 and go. And then at the end of it, you're like, dang, that really wasn't that bad. And I actually kind of enjoyed it. So maybe you start realizing you're more adventurous than you thought. And you were like, no, I'm just not the adventurous type. I don't want to do this. And then you realize that was just a limit you're putting on yourself. And that you actually are adventurous, right? So befriend your fear as well, because here's the thing. The psychological and physical aspects of fear are the same as, well, no, not the psychological, but the physical aspect is the same as excitement. It might be psychological, but I can't confirm that. But because I'm going to extreme examples here, so I don't want to, put my foot in it. But the physical aspects are the same, okay? It's this, getting warm, this clammy hands, the fluttering heartbeat, right? So instead of getting afraid, get excited. We needed fear in the past because, wolves could have killed us, bears could have killed us. We needed to hunt for food. You don't have these things necessarily anymore. Depends where you live, of course, right? But for the most part, those primal instincts, they're still so big in such a world where the problems are a lot less. So now instead of being afraid that we can't find food, we can easily go get food at the store. Not right now, of course, with everything going on, but you see my point, right? And so we don't need as much fear anymore in that term, in that way. So start befriending your fear, start stepping out of your comfort zone, but also know your limits. Don't push yourself too hard. And the reason why I show this picture is because I actually stayed in the water for about 10 seconds just to get this picture because it was in the Great Barrier Reef. But here's the thing. I tried diving for the first time, and I've dealt with anxiety in the last 6 years. And so I had a really good handle on it. But the second that lady pushed the button and my head started going down, my head got this far under the water, and I was clawing like a cat trying to get out of the bathtub. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. I try to talk myself out of it. I try to use all my tools to realize that's just my mind. But I'm like, I am legit going to have a heart attack in here. And then my mother's not going to have a daughter. And I need to get out, and I need to realize my limits. I should have tried to learn to dive in a pool before having my first experience be the Great Barrier Reef on a day where they said, hey, if you want to reschedule, the weather is such crap that you can. So I had to have that self-compassion. Know your limits, but know when that fear is just trying to take over and push yourself past it. So, shortcuts to happiness. I promise you guys some shortcuts. Motion creates emotion. Have body language. Have you ever just gotten up and just danced to a song? Like, there's a song that comes on and you just immediately want to go to it, and you just immediately want to start moving. And then all of a sudden you feel better, right? So the more that you can actually move your body to a positive state, the better. If you're like slouched over and you're frowning, you're automatically going to train your brain, oh, these are the same things that I do when I'm upset, so I must be upset right now, compared to if you're smiling, your shoulders are back. And then attire, right? A lot of us are just in sweatpants right now, and that is amazing. Okay, sweatpants are an awesome invention. I love PJs. However, sometimes, if our mood is down, we just need to, put on some jeans, put on a cute little outfit. And then the gratitude, like I said, gratitude for those mental health benefits, it does take a while to kick in. However, if you are in a state where you are super angry, or you're just really down, think about all the things that you are grateful for. And that may want to be the last thing you want to do at that point, but just try it, and I guarantee you will start to feel just a smidgen better. And then use the 5 senses technique. You saw how quickly that helped you, right? It was just a minute. So that's another shortcut. And then using the music. We kind of talked about that already in the dancing aspect. But imagine if I put on a really sad song, you might start crying. Your mind's going to go to sad thoughts and, situations that match those sad lyrics. Whereas if there is a song that's talking about how happy you are and just dancing around, having a good time, probably going to feel a lot better, right? So the last thing I want to leave you with today, before you go into Q&A, is choosing joy. This is the simplest tip. However, it is the most difficult. You have to choose to live a better life, to be more happy, to not let your emotions get the better of you. Of course, you're going to have those down days, but it's about choosing, you know what? I'm allowing my space, I'm allowing myself this time to just be down, to binge watch Netflix, to maybe eat some crap food, and then I'm going to pull myself out of it tomorrow. And I'm going to try again hard, right? And prioritizing yourself and your joy. Because a lot of people, they say, I want to make these people happy. I want to make my friends happy, my family happy. I want to make them proud. But you matter too. Okay, your happiness matters as well. You are also a priority. Your health's a priority, your happiness is a priority. So make sure that you are also putting yourself at the forefront, because when you do, you can allow all that joy to fall back behind you onto all those other people. Okay? So with that said, that is the end of this presentation. So I hope you really enjoyed it. And let's go into the Q&A aspect.
Absolutely. Everybody, if you want to drop some questions in our chat, that would be great. I know, Lonnie, I did see some. Could you reiterate what your AAA method was? What the A's stand for?
Yeah, let me put it in the chat just so people can see it too, in case I can't quite oh, there we go. Okay, so it's accept, approve, admire.
Accept, approve, admire.
Yes.
Oh,
So so many people, they say like, I don't want to have to search for approval from anyone else. Like I'm always constantly searching for that approval.
sure.
And they just try to approve of themselves right away, but really it comes down to accepting who you are right away. Or like when women try to lose weight, a lot of the times they're trying to feel confident within themselves, and so they don't like themselves until they start seeing those results. And if they don't see the results fast enough, they go even further down the tunnel. So it's really about accepting who you are first, and then the rest will follow.
Absolutely. So many. Oh, someone asked, how can they connect with you? If they want to follow you or connect with you virtually, how can our
Yes,
members
absolutely.
do that? Yes.
So I'll write the name in here, but my business name is Lulu Bella Lifestyle, and the reason for that is because my mother would just always call me Lulu Lonnie when I was younger, so it's kind of just like a cute thing. And I just really love the name Bella, and it means beautiful, so it's like beautiful lifestyle. And really, loving yourself is a lifestyle. It's not a destination. It's a whole journey. So yeah, it's Lulu Bella Lifestyle. So you can find me on Facebook if you look into that. There's a picture of me with like some cliffs behind. Usually, there's always a picture of me on a beach.
Sure.
I'm a beach baby. But yeah, so Facebook, Instagram, lulubellifestyle.com,
Okay.
all there.
Wonderful. A Golden Key member asked, do you have any tips for how to meditate? I can't get my mind to rest and I start thinking of things I haven't done and it makes me anxious. And I know you mentioned dealing with anxiety. So do you have any tips for maybe members looking to try meditation?
Yes, so I actually I have a training on this in my self-love group. So if you go to Lulubell Lifestyle on Facebook, I have a self-love group that you can join. I definitely understand that struggle because I sometimes even still struggle with it because it's a day-to-day thing, right? So the best thing that I can tell you is you are gifting yourself this time. So when you do those things, you are even more prepared. You are more calm, so you'll be able to think more clearly. So you're really prepping yourself up for the day. So give yourself that gift. And if you need to have, a mantra, there's different ways of meditating. You can focus on your breath, just keep coming back to your breath, or you can have a mantra. So even if you just say, I'm exactly where I need to be, and just keep bringing it back to that and really focusing on those words, even maybe visualizing those words as you're saying them. So your visual aspect isn't going away from the words. So that would be the best thing that I could tell you right now. I will say I do some guided meditations, but Boho Beautiful on YouTube, they
Okay.
have some really beautiful guided meditations, and that woman's voice is just angelic. I love her. So I've been following them for a couple years. So I
Okay.
would definitely suggest checking them out.
Perfect. Melissa has a question. What if you can't seem to accept change? Logically it's simple, but emotionally kind of moving past, accepting and moving on from change.
Typically, that means that there has been something that has happened in the past that you need to heal from.
Mhm.
And that's kind of where the coaching comes into place, because I've struggled with, do I do a program or do I just stick with the one-on-one coaching? I always go back to the one-on-one coaching because you can ask more questions and see where is that struggle really coming from. So I would encourage you to really go back to, why do you struggle with change? Keep asking yourself why. Is it that you are afraid of it? Is it that you just don't like it? When was a time in your life that you experienced a lot of change, and how did that make you feel?
Sure. Here's one from we've talked about anxiety, and this is one really coming from a professional setting. How do you keep a positive mindset when you feel like your voice and your colleagues as well are being stifled, or that you don't feel like your contribution is being recognized? So really, I think you mentioned an example, a person having a really negative work experience
Mhm.
about that. What kind of advice do you have for someone in that setting?
Well, one, I would encourage you to see, is that setting really right for you?
Mm,
Maybe it's time for a different environment. Um, if you really still enjoy the company and it's just, that department, maybe switch to a different department. Otherwise, in terms of, your contributions not being acknowledged, everyone is different. So some people, they really do need that acknowledgement. And for others, it's enough to just, give it to themselves. But I would say really knowing that these smallest contributions really make a difference. So like I actually struggled kind of with this because I felt like, okay, what am I really doing here? I'm analyzing trends, I'm keeping track of it, sure, but I feel like I could really be helping more people. But really, those things that I was doing, it helped the upper management realize, okay, where do we need to put more locations of our credit unions? And so whether, you're a janitor or you are an accountant or a secretary, like you all play your role. And, it's like chess. It's hard to play chess if one of those pieces is missing. Right.
Absolutely. I think a really pivotal point of your conversation, was that concept of perfection, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've got several questions around that. What's the best way to tell yourself to strive for excellence instead of perfection, and really knowing the difference? Certainly, I think in a golden key universe of top achievers, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to achieve and, to really realize our potential. But how do we know when we're getting kind of sucked into that perfectionism as opposed to being the best of who we truly are?
Sure. So I think how to know you're getting sucked into perfectionism is being aware of if you're falling into one of those two categories. Like, have you gotten the project done and you're still like going over it? Or are you just not even doing anything right now because you're procrastinating? Mm-hmm. And so really, like, let's take branding, for example. So say that you are coming up with a logo, okay? And so like this is my logo here. And I was being a perfectionist with this at the person I was working on with it. And so you can say, no, this color may be different. Maybe that color needs to be different. And you're constantly analyzing and say, well, what if I did this part differently? Or what if I did this part differently? If you keep asking yourself those questions, you're falling into that perfectionism. Mm-hmm. At some point, you just have to say, you know what? This looks good. There can always be something better. Mm-hmm. Just like you may be the smartest person in this room, there's always going to be someone smarter in the world, or someone prettier, or, what have you, someone who has a better skill set in data or whatever. So there's always going to be something better you can do. So just if you catch yourself constantly analyzing, stop yourself.
Gotcha. Oh, that's great advice. I think this question really comes from reflecting, especially the state of the world right now. We are isolated, we are social distancing, we see a lot in the media. And one of our members said, do you have any tips on how to stop just reacting so emotionally, like crying even, when they are witnessing these messages or situation, just kind of becoming overwhelmed? What would you say to someone in that scenario?
Well, one is just really respecting your feelings, respecting your emotions. So if you keep it bottled up, it's just going to manifest in different ways. So allow yourself to cry. It's a release of those emotions. It's not, something to be feeling shameful for. So allow yourself to have those emotions and allow that self-compassion. But I will say there is a difference between being educated and allowing yourself to be overwhelmed. Sure. So especially depending on where you are in the world, it's important to know what's going on, but it's also important to know when to shut off social media. Yeah. Or how to use it specifically so you're not still seeing those messages. If you need to just mute someone while this is going on because that's all that they're talking about, go ahead and mute them. They don't need to know. Sure. Or, turning off the television. So just making sure that you're not overwhelming yourself with that information. So for me, I am very much an empath, and I thought I was losing my mind recently because I'm like, why do I feel so heavy? Like, I'm not too much looking into all of what's going on, but I'm still feeling heavy. And I realized because I'm still seeing all these people struggling when I'm talking to them on social media, and I'm realizing I'm getting that energy.
Yeah.
So it's also important to have those grounding tools as well. Take a bath if you need to. Watch a stupid show. Watch reality TV. It's junk garbage, but it keeps your mind distracted, right? Allow yourself those times to just switch off.
Sure. Sure. That's fantastic. I thought this was a really insightful question. How do I stop my gratitude from turning into guilt? For example, I might feel grateful that I have a home in which we can shelter in place. We're safe and happy and comfortable, but then I feel guilty when I start to think about others in the world that don't. So to embrace that gratitude without it then spiraling into guilt.
I can completely relate to that, and it's difficult. However, this is this is my advice for that. Ask yourself logically, what is that going to do? What is you being guilty going to do? Nothing. It's not like you can, invite them into your home per se, or like go fly over there and help them out. So really just trusting, maybe send a prayer for them or something if you're, religious or spiritual. But just being grateful, it puts more good energy and good vibes out into the world, and that will help people, because everything is energy. We are all energy. That's why there's people of empaths, right? I'm sure many of you are empaths where, like you said, you're crying because you feel bad for these people. And so put that gratitude out there, like maybe even have a manifestation aspect of like, I am so grateful that people are finding relief in this time, and just send that love and gratitude out to them. But feeling guilty, it's not going to do anything. So it comes down to what you can control and what you can't control.
That is
I hope
so
that helps.
I think that's probably, we have time for maybe one or two more questions. Here's a question. I see a lot of things coming up about control. Do you have any tips for surrendering control in situations where it might be difficult to do so? That this all really comes down to what we can and can't control. So if we are struggling letting go maybe of things that we can't control, do you have some advice or tips for us there?
Sure. So, I mean, it really is dependent on if it's a personal thing or if it's something like with this pandemic going on.
Mhm.
So, for personal, I would say, again, it comes down to healing and figuring out what's the deeper root. And for something like what's happening globally right now, honestly, it's a lot. This is a boring answer, but it's the truthful one. It comes down to a lot of self talk, just that note, nope, new method of catching yourself and saying, okay, worrying is not going to do anything. What can I control right now to make myself feel better? And, maybe that's washing your hands or whatever. And just doing that and reminding yourself to release the rest. And maybe, again, offering just that feeling of love and light to other people, saying, you know what, I'm going to send this good energy out there and just hope that, it helps them in some kind of way. So that way you feel like, okay, you're doing something.
Yeah,
But it's really just a lot of self-talk and reminding yourself.
sure. Sure. Thank you so much for this talk today. I hope
Yeah, thank you for having me.
that you'll be able to go back and read through the chat. I see so many members. I will tell you, someone said this is a blessing. It very much is. During this especially unique time, I think for us to use this time to improve ourselves, to self-reflect. As I say, Golden Key is a community of lifelong learners wanting to achieve our potential, and we cannot do that without looking inward. And how wonderful is it that we can engage a fellow Golden Key member to help walk us through this process. I feel like, honestly, you've just touched the tip of the iceberg on so many subjects that we could have talked about. So I'm quite sure we'll have you back again, if you will, to delve deeper into this. So I want to say thank you so much to all of our members around the world. This was incredible. Lonnie did mention Lulu Bella, her Lulu Bella lifestyle. Lulu
Yeah,
Bella.
I just put my email in there. So if anyone needs to reach out, just if I didn't get the question answered, feel free.
Yes, lulubellalifestyle@gmail.com. You can find her on Facebook and all the million ways that we can connect. To everybody that attended today, we just say thank you so much for engaging in this way with Golden Key, with a fellow Golden Key member. We love being able to bring this kind of content and benefit to each of you. If you have ideas, please come to our website, shoot us an email, and tell us what you'd like to hear about. This is one of the things we look forward to every week. So thanks to each of you. Please stay safe, and we look forward to hosting you again, Lonnie. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for being here and listening and allowing me to answer your questions. And I wish you all love and light.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Lonnie. Take care, everybody.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.